Hi guys, this is Val from valkayink. Welcome back to my channel. Of course, this is the big one. This is the final video of the year. This is my Lupin haul for the year 2022. This video is going to be a little different from my other ones. This is every Lupin item that I have collected so far, including the past 3 years I've been doing this and everything from this year. So, this year was a great year for Lupin. We got so many cool releases. For example, this 7 Seas edition of Lupin III Greatest Hits. This is the classic manga chapters by Monkey Punch himself. I've read through this already. I read this way long ago. These chapters were translated quite differently in the Tokyo Pop release. But this is what I think is the best introduction to Lupin and just kind of how dark and insane and anti-establishment this character is. This is fantastic. Really love this edition. I would like to see more of these come out in the future. We also got the release of Lupin 50 Animated Years of Lupin III with the classic gold block typeface that we saw in Funimation releases. This is, I think, written by Reed himself. It's a lovely book. I mean, this is fantastic. This is a great primer if you don't know anything about Lupin. This is actually really quite good if you are a huge Lupin fan and you like a quick reference to like when things were made and specific episodes. This is great. So, little intro, lots of big color pictures. I really like seeing that. If anything, I would like to see more images in this book. But we've got a lot in here. I mean, everything from, you know, designs throughout the years, all the different series, character pages, expression pages. I mean, this is just so fun as a Lupin fan to flip through. I mean, the beautiful Goemon there. Yep, just fantastic. So yeah, what I've really been using this for is to go over, like, episodes, you know. There are a lot of little spotlights on characters like these villains here, but I've been really going over like episodes and what like I may have stopped on during my rewatch and I can find my way back. Pretty great. I mean, there's so many episodes of all the different series. It's nice to see little synopsises and little images. These are from Red Jacket. And it's also in chronological order, so you can really get a sense of what came when, so I really like that part of it. Just fantastic little book. If you're a super huge Lupin, like obsessive, none of this information is going to be startling new, but it is really nice to have it all in one beautiful release. So with that, I'm going to move on to talking about the rest of these releases and everything I have. Of course, I still have these old final and first hauls. Basically with Lupin, if you are new to my channel, please know that I always grade Lupin specials or series or movies in a certain specific way. I always grade them based on the heist, the character interactions, the set pieces, and of course the twist or the surprise ending. That's just how I like my Lupin things, and an easy way to kind of talk about them. These old releases, pretty much everything on these you can get in the new Discotheque releases. We do have Farewell to Nostradamus, Island of Assassins, Crisis in Tokyo, Columbus Files, and Missed by a Dollar on Blu-ray now. But I still love this edition in this pack. I still have my shrink wrap for it, so I'm keeping these. It's just a cool collecting item for me. This is the first pack. This has Voyage to Danger, Dragon of Doom, The Pursuit of Haramo's Treasure, The Secret of the Twilight Gemini, and Dead or Alive. All of these are officially on Blu-ray now as well, but again, look at these great old packs. I still really like these. So, that is the quick little introduction here. Listen, Lupin, this is how we're going to do things. We are going to go through everything. I did a quick rewatch of everything, or at least attempted some time with every title on this list. I'm not going to go into too much detail on each, but I am going to show you guys what each release looks like, and then based on what you see, maybe you like the old DVD or the new Blu-ray better. Just as a general note, visually, the Blu-rays look stunning, whether they are from Discotheque's releases or the few that I have that are from other companies. So, with all that, let's get into the rest of this crazy Lupin goodness. First up, we have, of course, the starting point. This is Lupin III, the complete first series. This is also known as Green Jacket. This aired between 1971 and 1972. This is the thin pack of the discotheque release. Here are the discs, of course. Nice, beautiful green. I've always liked the way these looked. This original DVD set is the set that had the pilot with it, and it is with the Blu-ray pack that we get the dub. So those are the major differences between the two. I'm a huge fan of the Green Jacket series. I love this one. I always come back to it. And if you want to know, like, visually what the difference is between the DVDs and the Blu-rays, I mean, you can really tell the difference from the covers. This one, of course, is more stylized with the green gradient in the back. But yeah, if you're picking this up, highly, highly recommend the Blu-ray pretty much for all of these. And I really like the way they did the disc art for this too, because we have beautiful line art designs of all the characters from part 1. So, I like the dub. I think it's fine. I'm just personally more attached to the original voice acting for this series, thus I can't speak that much more to it. Basically, it'll be up to you which of these two you personally prefer to have in your collection. Next up is part 2. This is the Red Jacket series. These are the Pioneer/Genion releases. These are delightful in their own way. You know, I love that I have them. Very interesting. This first one comes with quite a bit of paperwork to introduce you to Lupin. I really like that. However, the biggest failing of these sets is, of course, they didn't complete all of the Red Jacket series. So if you want to own all of Red Jacket, again, highly recommend going to these discotheque releases. So, just in order, here is part 1 of the collection, 1 through 40. Here is number 2. Here is number 3. And the final part 4. As of recording, there is no information about a Blu-ray release for Red Jacket. I suspect that we will be getting that in the future. Probably not anytime soon, but maybe towards the end of next year, possibly the year after. I don't know. Keep an eye out. Pay attention to Discotheque and their streams. If they do say anything about a Blu-ray release for these, I'll let you guys know on my own personal Twitter. But yeah, that is a lot of Lupin. Really fun to have all of these. Red Jacket is a very fun series. Personally, I find this is the series that has some of the highest episodes and also some of the lowest. Some that feel kind of repeaty, but it's definitely fun. Definitely check out at least the first few episodes of Red Jacket. Definitely a great Lupin series. I'm going to keep it going with Lupin III Part 3. Of course, I only have the Blu-ray because this is all we got over here. And I'm very thankful that we have this one. This is a fascinating series. There is a lot of great character interaction in this one. There's a lot of really good gags. It's really funny in some parts, and it can be a little slow and a little too silly in others. But I think if you're in the mood for that, this is kind of perfect. Again, really love what we've got with these discs from Discotheque. Lovely series. I actually went back and watched my favorite episodes for this. Still fantastic. Here's the reverse art next to the cover. Definitely worth picking up if you are a huge Lupin fan. This one's pretty great. Next up, one of my absolute favorites in terms of Lupin. This is Lupin III Part 4, The Italian Adventure. This is, of course, 26 episodes, and as you can see here, I have both a DVD and a Blu-ray copy. That's because I have the original Japanese as well as the English dub. My own personal mistake, I actually ordered the DVD instead of the Blu-ray for the English, but it's kind of nice to have Part 4 on both my DVD collecting side and my Blu-ray collecting side. I also think the art on the DVD for this cover is just fantastic. One of those promotional images. And it's nice to see the different setups between the DVD release versus the Blu-ray release. So yeah, did a rewatch of this. really enjoyed it. This is definitely a more surreal and strange Lupin series, but I think that's what makes it so special. So, definitely, if you're new to Lupin, this is one of the ones I think you can start with and have a really good time. My most recent rewatch, this is Lupin the Third, Part 5, Misadventures in France. This one's a delight. I had a really good time doing a rewatch of this. Fascinating to watch it on a TV versus on my computer. Really brings attention to all the details that this little series has. A lot of nods to Lupin of the past, a lot of little Easter eggs. This is one for fans. And I think it's a great way to have a modern Lupin as an introduction. Love this release. Yeah, some of the episodes I think still hit better than others on a rewatch. Some I was just like, yeah, I remember that. But yeah, definitely enjoyable. Really, really like this Part 5 Lupin. Next up, one of my all-time favorite Lupin things ever. This is Lupin the Third, The Woman Called Fujiko Mine. This is the complete series. This, of course, is the old Funimation release. But you know what? That's absolutely fine. I do kind of want to go pick up the new Discotheque release, just because they did add in some subtitles that were missing on a couple of things, like some of the songs and stuff. But for the most part, I haven't gotten around to it, so I still have this version. Absolutely fell in love with this series. This is technically considered a spin-off series, since the main focus is, of course, the lovely Fujiko. Don't let that dissuade you. This is such a wild ride. I still love this one. Even with a rewatch, I was like falling in love with it again. It's so dark and mysterious and bizarre. And I really, really love this art style. This Koike art style is so good. Yeah, just an amazing little series. Still highly recommend it. Definitely the kind of thing that I would rewatch every year. And from this, we got another of my favorite Lupin things, because from this series, we move on to the spin-off movies. I'm just going to bring these all out at once. These are the Koike spin-off films. This, of course, is Jigen's Gravestone. I really love this one. I rewatched this one quite a bit. The style in this is just so good. This, of course, came a couple years after Fujiko Mine, which came out in 2012. This was the 2014 release. Yeah, if you guys want just like a real quick dose of some darker Lupin, definitely pick up these movies. They are fantastic. They're kind of split in two parts. Really, really enjoyable as far as like a 70s themed thriller movie. Here is Goemon's Blood Spray. If you like samurai films, this is more what this one is kind of going for. Again, fantastic. Love the art, love the action. And finally, I know this one got really mixed reviews, but I ended up loving it. This is Fujiko's Lie, the third of the movies. We should be getting a couple more. We don't have any news as of right now, the very end of 2022. But I imagine we'll be getting some news in the next year. It's going to be a really good year for Lupin next year. So that is a beautiful little trio that I highly recommend. And yeah, I rewatch these definitely at least once, maybe twice a year. I think I watched each of these twice this year again. Just really enjoy this little series. On to some comparison stuff, speaking of spin-offs or verses or collabs or however you want to call these. This, of course, is the Lupin versus Conan sets. These came in a special and a movie. This is Lupin versus Detective Conan, the special. This is technically the first part in the stories. This is the one you want to watch first. And yeah, I'm trying to like show what the difference is between DVD and Blu-ray. Visually, these are quite similar. This comes with a dub, which is why most people I think are going to gravitate towards the Blu-rays. Also, the DVDs were released kind of way back when, so they might be a little harder to find, whereas these are readily available, and you can also get them through Discotheque sales, so that might be worth it. I think the movie is a little bit more exciting. I really like this movie. I like these characters together. DVD. And of course, dub with the Blu-ray. I like this dub. this one really worked for me. I don't know why. I thought it was fun, kind of bouncy. I'll always love the interactions between Jigon and little Detective Conan himself. So yeah, didn't expect to get the Blu-rays. Really happy I did. So that's those specials for you. Next, I want to go into something special, which are the movies. If you aren't into going into a bunch of episodes or going into spin-offs or the specials that came on TV, definitely check out the Lupin movies. This, of course, is The Secret of Momo. This is the Pioneer release. I really like this release. This is the first Lupin movie. It was done in 1978. Still like the way this looks. Still like this background. Still really like this little book that has all sorts of facts about production. This is so fun to me. However, despite how excellent this looks on this Pioneer DVD, this one really surprised me, it looks fabulous on the Blu-ray. So yeah, highly recommend the Blu-ray. This is such a wild trip. To me, this movie is really closest to, like, Manga Lupin. You know, he's a kind of an ass in the funnest way possible. This movie is so trippy, so stylized, looks so good in some parts. I mean, if you really love traditional animation, definitely give this one a watch. Not nearly as sweet as other Lupin things, but definitely spicy. So, yeah. Definitely love myself a little bit of Mystery of Momo. Next up, of course, I almost didn't put this in here, forgot I had it, but this is Lupin III, The Castle of Cagliostro. This is the original collector's edition. However, there is a 4K edition that has been put out by Discotek. I keep meaning to pick that up as well in a sale, just kind of, I have a lot of other anime I collect, so I would love to tell you guys about a comparison between the two, but don't worry, even if you only have this version, it's gorgeous. Definitely tell me in the comments if you have the 4K version, because I don't have every single Lupin thing. I am not the ultimate of Lupin collectors, I just happen to like Lupin. I would like to know how the 4K version looks. Definitely fun, classic, very Miyazaki Lupin. This is kind of the Lupin everyone fell in love with way back when, and I really can't blame them. This movie is a delight. I rewatch it every year. Next up, this is Lupin, The Legend of the Gold of Babylon. There is a Blu-ray for this that I thought I ordered, and I think I forgot or missed out, so that is something I'll have to collect next year. This movie's still fun. It's not my personal favorite, but it's got some great character interactions and some great set pieces. So yeah, this is definitely a fun one. And really interesting, especially the history of how this was produced. It went through kind of development hell, but as far as other than those pieces, it still came out quite interesting. Done in 1985, Legend of Gold Babylon. I need to get that Blu-ray. I gotta write that down on a list. Remind me, guys. On to one of my personal favorites, and one that I cannot wait to own on Blu-ray. At some point, I personally feel like it's going to come to Blu-ray. Discotek has mentioned many times that they want to bring every Lupin thing to Blu-ray. This is Lupin III, The Fuma Conspiracy, also known as Plot of the Fuma Clan. This was done in 1987. I personally really love this one. It's a great film. There is controversy about, is it an OVA, is it a theatrical release, is it a movie? From what I understand, from what I've been told, this is technically a movie. It did get a small theatrical release. It's still listed as OVA in a lot of places. You know, tomato, tomato, this is still a great film. So I'm putting it in the movies category, Lupin III, The Fuma Conspiracy. I wouldn't be surprised if we get an announcement for a Blu-ray for this one soon. Next up, this is Farewell to Nostradamus. I never did get my hands on the DVD release of this. It's kind of one of the more rarer ones, but not to fear, we finally have the Blu-ray release, and it looks gorgeous. The version I saw was, of course, on those big first and final haul packs. It was a little grainy. This looks gorgeous. Highly recommend getting the Blu-ray. This one, on a rewatch, there are a couple parts that run a little slow. But visually, I just love how bouncy all of the characters are. The animation has this kind of almost Western American bounce to it. Just really delightful, kind of all the interactions. I just love the way Lupin and Jigen are running through this crazy building that this guy owns. Just a fun film. Just one of those that I really personally enjoy. Next up, this is Dead or Alive, and my god, if there's a Lupin movie I love, it is this one. This is Dead or Alive. Visually, just look at the difference between the covers. That's the kind of difference you'd be getting the Blu-ray version. I love this film. This is, of course, one that Monkey Punch himself did work on. He did the opening sequence with the jailbreak race. And here is the beautiful Blu-ray. It might take a minute to get used to these character designs. Yes, they are closer to the manga, but that's why I like this one. Just some of the animation in this is visually stunning. I am so happy to see so many people have picked this up, and I've gotten so many messages of people saying that this was worth it. I'm so glad. I think it's a great Lupin film. This is just one of the craziest plots in another country, and some of the most beautiful animation. I can't speak highly enough about this one. Definitely one of my favorites. So, this is the difference between DVD and Blu-ray. Highly, highly, highly recommend. And of course, if we're going to talk about films, there's no way I can't show you guys this beautiful Lupin III, the first, released by G-Kids. One of the few that isn't from like Pioneer or Funimation or Discotek. This is the G-Kids release. And of course there will be some Sentai stuff coming in the future. More on that next year. But yeah, I went ahead and sprung for the Steelbook. I'm really happy with it. I think it's gorgeous. Fun film. Really like the way the CG looks in this one. And I'm not really a big proponent for CG, but this one just has enough style and charisma that it wins me over. The characters look great. It's just a fun adventure story with a great little twist in the end that I enjoyed. I like this one. I think everyone should give it a watch. You know, even if you don't want to own this big edition or the standard, just give it a single watch. It's really fun. It's just a fun Lupin film. And I think they did a good job with this packaging. I really like it. So yeah, that is Lupin III the First. This is kind of, I think a lot of the advertising was about how this is the first full CG Lupin. Not technically true, but yeah, this was an interesting one for sure. It's time to speed run through some Lupin specials. The first one being Lupin III, Bye Bye Lady Liberty. Of course, as you guys know from my previous haul, bought this on a whim, ended up loving it. This is such a crazy little special. This is technically special number 1 from 1989. Thank you, Discotek, for these little file numbers on the sides. I really enjoy that. So there's Lady Liberty. We're going to make a little stack here. Next up, this is the Hemingway Papers. This is such a strange little one. I actually like this one. It's from 1990. This is special number 2. We don't have a Blu-ray release for this yet. Wouldn't surprise me if this is one of the ones coming out next year, though. Next up, this is Lupin III, Napoleon's Dictionary. Kind of a notorious one because it does have some very jank animation in it, but it kind of makes it endearing to me. I don't know, I like this one. Every time I watch it, I think, man, they could have done some things different to make this a little more cohesive. But this is the third special from 1991. Very interesting. Wonder when we'll get a Blu-ray of it. Next up, this is Lupin III, From Siberia with Love. I think this also has a second title. This is, of course, Lupin III versus Rasputin's descendant. It's very bizarre, but it has some great set pieces. I love Lupin's little digging scene here, and I like this pile of gold and everything. Strange, but delightful. Now we're moving into ones that are kind of doubled up. We have Voyage to Danger. This is the DVD release. This is the Blu-ray release. Definitely go for the Blu-ray release. This looks way better on Blu-ray. To me, this one moves a little slow, and it's not really my favorite, but it's still an excellent special. So, if you are a completionist, get it. Next up, we have Dragon of Doom. Here is the DVD and Blu-ray comparison. Again, another way to visually show you, like, just what the difference between the DVD and Blu-ray versions are. God, they put a lot of work into their Blu-rays. This is Dragon of Doom. I really enjoy this one. I still enjoy this one. It feels like a long-lost Red Jacket episode. Just a lot of adventure. Interesting set pieces. Really enjoy that one. Next up, we have The Pursuit of Harimo's Treasure. This is the old DVD, this is the new Blu-ray release. Again, not only does it look better on Blu-ray, there's some specials on here that are very good, some little extras. Just talking about Lupin and 90s anime. So, this is Pursuit of Harimo's Treasure. We're gonna have to move this over. Next up, this is The Secret of Twilight Gemini. Here is the DVD and Blu-ray release. I have the uncut DVD release, but if you want to see the cut, uncut, all the versions, definitely get the Blu-ray. You're basically getting like 3 different versions, I want to say. It's been a while since I watched this one. But this one has certain set pieces that I think are fantastic. On the whole, I think some of it's a little off to me, and some parts run a little slow, but it's definitely worth watching just to see certain parts of this. Again, not my personal favorite, but definitely up there with some really cool stuff in a Lupin special. Next up, we have Lupin III Island of Assassins. This is highly recommended by a lot of people. Everyone loves this one. I think it's very good. It's not my favorite. It's very good, though. It's better than I had previously felt about it. A rewatch really helped, especially with this beautiful Blu-ray version. So, next up, another one that I really like. This is Crisis in Tokyo, also known as Tokyo Crisis. Yeah, this DVD does look a little dark, so I do like what Discotek did with, I think they did some lightening up of some of the shots. Maybe a little color correction or something. It definitely looks better. This one's a lot of fun to me. I like that it's very Zenigata focused. I really, really enjoy like the whole theme park thing that's going on in the background with this. Very interesting. Gets surprisingly dark in little sections, but nothing that a Lupin fan can't handle. So that is Lupin III Tokyo Crisis. Next up, this is Lupin III The Columbus Files. This one's fun. This, of course, sounds not the best on paper. It's a Fujiko amnesia plot, but the way they play around with it and the way the villains interact with everyone makes it so much better than you'd expect. Yeah, this is pretty great. I like the extra characters in this as well. This was a really fun one. Special number 11, I want to say. I think this was from 1999. Great little Lupin special. Looks especially good on Blu-ray. Here's a new one that has not been in my hauls before. I did manage to get a DVD copy of Missed by a Dollar at the same time that I got a Blu-ray copy of Missed by a Dollar. I really enjoy this one. This is just a fun kind of beach feeling episode. They all kind of end up on the beach together, and it's a really, really good little plot. Some really great like disguises are in this. I kind of like that there's like a nerdy Jigon and Lupin dresses up like an old man. Stuff that's just kind of fun and bouncy. I like the little ending sequence that's kind of somber. Yeah, this is Lupin III Missed by a Dollar. I like this one. Next up, Lupin III Alcatraz Connection. I don't think there's a Blu-ray for this, but I could be mistaken. Here is the back panel. This one has some crazy stuff going on, definitely some strange set pieces. The tone kind of flips around all over the place on this, but I do like kind of this huge under the city battle at the end. Really, really interesting Lupin. I think this will get a Blu-ray soon. I can't imagine that they wouldn't do one soon. Yeah, interesting Lupin. Next up, this is Return of Koike. This is one of the Blu-rays that was coming out that people were very mixed on. I had not seen this until I got my hands on this Blu-ray. This is not my favorite special, let's just say. I thought I would end up liking it. I do like Koike as a character. I think it's funny that he acts so mysterious and important. He's really just kind of pulling off magician tricks in the background. But there's something about the flow in this one that just kind of makes it feel jumbled and hard to follow. I think if it were tweaked a little bit different writing-wise, it would work. There are some cool visuals in this and some strange stuff. I don't think it's hideous the way some people have mentioned, but it's not necessarily my favorite. Still, glad to own it. If you're a completionist, you kind of have to. Lupin the Third, The First Contact. This is great. This is on an old red case. That's very fun. This is a really nice kind of Blu-ray. This one looked especially good, whatever work was put into it. I like the new little title, little change there with the text. Yeah, this is a reimagining of the entire Lupin gang meeting for the first time, and I like the little twist in the end of how the story's being told. I like how Goemon kind of is introduced to everyone. It's different than his original story. Definitely a lot of fun, a lot of great set pieces. This is a great Lupin. This is another one that I would kind of point to people and say, you know, if you want to give Lupin a shot and you don't know anything about Lupin, watch First Contact. You'll get a great introduction to everyone in here. Next up, this is Lupin the Third, Operation Return the Treasure. This is one of my favorite specials. I really like this one because of kind of how lighthearted it is and just how strange the adventure is. There's a lot of traveling in this one. There is a lot of returning items versus stealing items. Everyone is really fun in this. I'm sure we're going to be getting a Blu-ray of this soon. I can't imagine we won't. And I will be singing its praises then and letting people know that it's a Blu-ray worth owning as a Lupin fan. Next up, we have Lupin the Third, The Elusiveness of the Fog. This is a time-traveling adventure Lupin, and it is very good for that reason. I like it. It's more of a turn your brain off and kind of enjoy Lupin's antics in another time period. The less you think about the plot points, the better, because some of them, I think, don't work as well. But I think that's also just my personal opinion. This Blu-ray looks great. You know, can't fault the work put onto the Blu-ray itself. I'm really happy to have it. It's nice to see a time travel adventure like this. Next up, we have Green versus Red. I am so looking forward to when this gets a Blu-ray. I'm one of the few people that really likes this special. This is something so much more akin to like the original manga chapters that I can't help but like it. There is some insane anime sequences in this where Jigen's like jumping off of an exploding helicopter. I really do enjoy this one. There's really good liner notes in this by Reed Nelson. This is such a cool little special. I love this disc art. Yeah, I really like this one. We'll see what the reception is when it gets a Blu-ray. I imagine it'll get a Blu-ray. I think one of the big knocks against it is the CG. Every time I rewatch this, I'm like, oh man, that CG is rough. But the rest of it, I enjoy. Little darker Lupin for those who like that. Next up, we have Lupin the Third, The Last Job. I'm blanking on this one. I rewatched it not too long ago, and I still have trouble with the plot on this one. Here's the back. For some reason, I know a lot of the character introductions for this were in one of the Lupin mangas. This feels like the big climax to that. I wish I liked it a little bit more. Visually, there's some cool stuff in here. Yeah, for some reason, this one just feels off, but not so much that it's awful. I don't know why I have trouble with it. I'm having trouble with remembering it, actually. But Lupin the Last Job, it does look great, and I'm really happy to have it. So yeah, that was done in 2010. This is Lupin the Third, Blood Seal of the Eternal Mermaid. You know, watching this again, I still love the way this looks. It has this soft, almost Ghibli-esque style to a lot of the character designs, but the action is still very Lupin. It gets a little dark in parts. It has some great character interactions. I actually really like the extra characters in here. Has a great little twist in the end. Has Zenigata being a beast at one point, so I enjoy that. Yeah, every time I rewatch this, I still really like it. So that's Lupin the Third, Blood Seal of the Eternal Mermaid. Here we go. This is Lupin the Third, Goodbye Partner. This is a fun one. I really like all of the portions that are Jigen versus Lupin in this. I like that they swapped clothes. That's fun. Why is my thing upside down? God, I never noticed that. Did I do that recently? Let me fix that. Here is the disc art while I mess with that. Yeah, this one's good. I think the only issue I have with it is it kind of gets slowed down way too fast at the last portions of it. kind of loses steam, it goes a little haywire, but for the most part it is a fascinating little Lupin special. Really interesting. I also really like the way Lupin and Goemon work together in this. This was another fun one to rewatch. And finally, but not the least, this is Lupin Prison of the Past. I had heard very mixed things about this, and I ended up really liking it. It's just like a crazy kind of prison episode. There's a lot of Jigon in it. Some beautiful visuals, some really funny Lupin stuff. Just so strange and so kind of delightful in its own way. So that's Lupin Prison of the Past. So, that is pretty much everything that I'm going to cover in this. I hope you guys were okay with this kind of quick-fire way of doing things. I'm just going to go ahead and make an insane stack here, just so you guys can see how much space all of this is taking up. This is just the specials alone that I have. But yeah, that's just a quick rundown of what it was like to rewatch everything, what it's like collecting everything. This has been one of my favorite things I've ever done, was collecting all of Lupin over the years. You guys have no idea how much joy this has brought me, and I'm really looking forward to even more releases in the future. So, I just want to say really quickly, hi to all my subscribers, you guys rock. Thank you so much for watching my videos over the years, and I cannot wait to do another year of insane collecting and watching an anime and goods with you guys. So, here's to looking at 2023. I hope everyone has a wonderful New Year's, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone!